What if I told you that some of the best experiences on Maui cost absolutely nothing, while some of the most expensive activities aren't worth half of what you'll pay? In this episode, you'll discover which Maui experiences are worth every penny and which incredible activities cost nothing at all. Plus, the reservation mistake that's turning away visitors in 2026. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best, the podcast helping you plan an unforgettable Hawaii vacation with clear, practical guidance. I'm Brian Murphy, a certified Hawaii destination expert, husband, and dad of 3, and each week I break down what actually matters for your Hawaii trip, drawing from local insights and firsthand experience so you can plan with confidence and travel with aloha. Today, we're talking all about the top Maui experiences. You won't forget, going to be talking about some paid options, some free options, and I'm going to be as transparent as I can with you on some of these and what's worth it. As you probably already know, though, Maui can be expensive. It's really expensive. It's honestly the most expensive island, but it doesn't have to be if you know how to balance your spending and what to spend on. So instead of just giving you another list of things to do, I'm going to be categorizing these experiences into 2 groups. Call them like high impact investments. Those are the paid experiences that are absolutely worth your time and money. And then I'll give you my top free experiences towards the end of this episode that deliver, I think, just as much value. And one of them is the best experience I've ever had in all of Hawaii. So let's go ahead and let's start with the paid experiences, because I know a lot of you are maybe wondering, what should I actually spend money on? Because you already got your flights, you got hotels booked. Hopefully you already got your rental car booked. Now it's like, okay, I got to make the list of what to do. And with the budget I have left over, what is actually worth it? And my answer is going to be simple. Spend money on experiences that give you access to, I'd say, expertise, cultural education, or places you generally can't reach or experience on your own, like where you're from. So what are the places that are going to be unique to Maui, to Hawaii? What are those unique experiences that are going to leave lasting memories? Because really that's what you can take from Hawaii are those experiences, are those memories. So number 1, going to just kick it right off with probably the most famous and widely asked about and kind of controversial now experiences on Maui, and that is the road to Hana. Now, I did a whole episode about should you even drive the road to Hana? Like, should you drive it yourself or should you have a paid guide drive you? And this is that first paid experience I feel is definitely worth it. And that's having a licensed tour group drive the road to Hana for you. For one, road to Hana it's 620 some curves, 59 some bridges, a lot of 1-lane roads, and some of the most stunning coastline that you'll ever see. Most people do rent a car, a Jeep, and do it themselves. You can do that, but there's a lot that goes into that. And here's what usually happens. By the time you finish navigating those curves, those turns, while your partner is trying to figure out where to stop, spotty cell service out there, and there's not you gotta be sure you park in designated areas. A lot of it is full. There's also tension. I talked a little bit about tension. There is tension with locals who live in Hana trying to commute that road. It could be a hassle, especially with visitors or those with like a tourist mindset who are just kind of clueless and just trying to like navigate this new environment when, you got locals out there who are just trying to get to and from work or something like that. So by the time you finish this, you're exhausted. If you're driving, you've probably missed half the waterfalls and you're wondering if it really was worth all the stress, if it was really worth getting up early and making the trip all the way over, especially if you're staying in Ka'anapali, which is on the other side of the island. It's a whole day thing doing the road to Hana. So there is a better option. I go into it more in depth on that episode. I'll link below, but hire a guide like Valley Isle Excursions. This is not sponsored by them or anything like that, but find a reputable company and they're usually easy to spot. Read reviews on some of these tour companies because it'll be worth your time. And it's not cheap, but you get a custom, usually like an elevated seating, massive windows, typically a continental breakfast. You get stops at all the best waterfalls, all the stops you're going to do anyways. And there is lunch provided and they drive you back. You're not just paying for the transportation to be, driven around. You're paying for storytelling. There's guides, there's local knowledge. You can have a Q&A, ask questions, and someone who actually knows where to stop, where you can visit, where you can, because there are a lot of those areas on the road to Hana of those places that are important to not venture off. And I didn't want to bring it up, but there was a big incident recently, I think in the last month, with tourists and locals there on the road to Hana. So if you're thinking about doing it, this is the longest tip. So the rest of them are going to go quicker. If you're thinking about doing it, I would highly encourage you. I actually just did a one-on-one consultation with someone who's going, and I highly encourage them to look at doing a paid tour to the road to Hana. And it doesn't have to be a big bus. You can do a smaller one, and the smaller size ones are going to cost more. But in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. Okay, number 2, luau's. But you got to choose the right one. Luau's are the quintessential Hawaii experience, but not all luau's are created equal. Some are overcrowded tourist traps, honestly, with mediocre buffet foods. I've been to some of those before. Others offer intimate, culturally rich, and genuinely worth your time and money. But here's how to choose. So if you're on a budget, consider the Royal Lahaina Miss of Maui luau in Kaanapali. And if you're staying in Kaanapali, this is a kind of a no-brainer. It runs about $185 US per person. You'll get a buffet, fire dancing, and a solid show. It's good value. If you're staying in Kihei area, you look at the Grand Wailea luau there. They got a great one. And also either side of the island, I would highly recommend doing the old Lahaina luau. They opened probably it's been, 4 or 6 months now. They reopened. Those are my top 3 that I would look at for luau's. And if you've done a luau before, maybe skip it. And I don't always do a luau when I visit Hawaii, but getting a solid one is good. All right, number 3, snorkeling. Snorkeling at Molokini Crater. So if you love being in the water, Molokini Crater, it's really a non-negotiable as far as snorkeling on the island of Maui. It's that crescent-shaped volcanic crater sitting it's about 3 miles offshore, and it's one of the top snorkeling spots really in all the world. The water is crystal clear, the marine life is incredible, and you're literally snorkeling inside a volcanic crater. Most tours leave from Maalaea Harbor and cost between $100 and $150 per person. A lot of them also include stops at Turtletown, which you're most likely going to see some Hawaiian green sea turtles. So if you only do one paid water activity on Maui, this should definitely. Quick break from today's episode. Don't worry, this isn't a sponsored ad, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to say thank you for listening. If this podcast has been helpful for you at all, hitting follow on your podcast app is the best way to support it. It's free, and it helps more people plan better Hawaii trips. Thanks again for listening, and let's get back to today's episode. Only be the one. Number 4 is going to bridge between paid to our free experiences, and that is sunrise at Haleakalā National Park. Watching sunrise from the summit of Haleakalā is really one of the most incredible experiences you can have on Maui. You're standing at over 10,000 feet above the clouds, watching the sky shift from black to purple to orange to gold. It's absolutely stunning. I would recommend doing this first, second, third day because you're more than likely going to be waking up early. And obviously to get the sunrise, you're going to need to wake up early. But because of the time change, you're going to be waking up early. So this one, technically, it's cheap. It's $1.50 for the reservation. Yes, you do need a reservation. I'll talk about that in a minute. Plus, it's a $30 park entrance fee for a vehicle. But the catch with the reservation is you've got to book exactly 60 days in advance on recreation.gov. Don't worry about it. I'll drop the link below at 7 a.m. So 60 days in advance at recreation.gov at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. These slots fill up super fast. You need to be online, ready to go. So if you miss the sunrise window, here's a pro tip. You go for sunset instead. It's just as beautiful. No reservations needed actually for sunset, and you get to incredible stargazing afterwards. Going back to that $30 entry fee for vehicle. Now, don't quote me on this. We've done this for state park passes. We've tried to do it for national parks before, but they've all been sold out. Check your local library. They have vehicle passes. We do it all the time for California state parks, but I've yet to be able to get a national park pass. So check that out before you go. Not sure if it lines up, but it's a cheaper experience at $30, but hey, it's $30. So let's go ahead and we're going to pivot to the free experiences. These are where Maui, I think, really shines because you generally don't need to spend a ton of money to have an incredible time on Maui. So the first one is actually a callback from a couple of weeks ago when I did an episode all about whale watching, but I'm going to talk about whale watching from the shore. If you're visiting Maui between December, April, mid-April, that might be a little bit too late, but depending on the season, supposedly this season, 2026, is supposed to be pretty good. Here's the thing. You don't need to pay for a whole whale watching boat tour extravaganza, though that could be really cool. You can get a chance to see them from shore, see them breaching, tail slapping, and doing all that whale stuff. Some of the best spots that I would recommend would be McGregor Point Lookout, the Olowalu shoreline, the Kaanapali Beach walking path. That's a great spot, especially if you're staying there already, which we have. We've seen dolphins all the time over there, actually. And the Hawaiian Islands Humpback Whale National Marine Sanctuary. It's a visitor center in Kihei. And the visitor center is especially great because they've got educational exhibits, telescopes for viewing. If you have binoculars, you might want to bring them if you're staying in Kaanapali side. If you're visiting during this window, maybe save your money and watch from the shore. Maybe watch at the visitor center. It's free, it's accessible, and it's really one of the most incredible natural things that you can witness, I think, in Hawaii. And it's not something that you get to do every time year round because of the seasonality of it. You know, as I'm going through my notes right now, I was going to do the next one about beaches and hikes, and I'll put that in the free PDF guide that you can grab after this episode. You can grab it first link in the show notes below. But I think Maui has the best beaches, has some of the best hikes. So I'm going to include some of my favorites in that, but I want to give you a couple more free activities that I think are worth the time in exploring. The next one is some free cultural experiences. The shops at Wailea offer free hula lessons every Friday, and the Hawaiian Islands Humpback Whale National Marine Sanctuary in Kihei has free educational exhibits, as I mentioned, where you can learn more about whales, but also in addition to that, marine conservation and Hawaiian culture. Now, these experiences don't cost anything, but they give you a deeper understanding and appreciation of Hawaiian culture. And honestly, that's something you can't really put a price tag on. It's about connection, about learning, about respecting the place that you're visiting. Many of the resorts do have some form of Hawaiian culture experience. So definitely look into that as you're checking in, getting that activity guide. The next one, now this is my favorite by far, as I mentioned at the top of this episode, and that's volunteering with Maui Cultural Lands. Maui Cultural Lands is led by Ikolu Lindsay and his mom, Auntie Punani. And this is really one of the best free experience, but I think one of the best experiences on Maui that most visitors don't know about. There's been people who have listened to this podcast, and I've recommended Maui Cultural Lands for years now, probably about 6-7 years. And there's been listeners who have gone to and volunteered with Maui Cultural Lands. It's a grassroots organization, and it's all about restoring Hawaiian cultural sites in the Honokawai Valley. And they welcome volunteers every Saturday at 9 a.m. They host volunteer work days. You'll work alongside of locals, removing invasive species. This is what we did, planting native plants and restoring ancient taro patches called lo'i. This isn't just volunteering and not about just feeling good about yourself. It's a cultural exchange. You're learning traditional Hawaiian land management practices that go back centuries. And the experience alone, though it's free, they'll provide gloves, tools. You bring water, a lunch, sunscreen. I would just recommend just bringing something like you wouldn't mind going out and doing yard work, because basically you're going to be going doing yard work. So maybe a long sleeve shirt, something like that, long sleeve sun shirt. That's actually what Ikolu always wears, and closed-toe shoes. But just a fair warning, it's going to be physical work. You're going to need to be able to be mobile and hike down into the valley. You'll get dirty, you'll sweat, but you'll leave, I know you'll leave with a better understanding of Maui and a genuine sense of contribution, giving back. So you can check them out. I'm going to link my episode that I did with Ikolu Lindsay below, but you can also check them out at mauiculturallands.org for volunteer calendar and meeting location. And groups and families who are able are definitely welcome to be able to experience this. So I'm going to have this all in a free PDF like I usually do. I'm going to expand upon some other ones that we didn't have time for today. So you can grab that in the first link below, completely free. I do want to reiterate the importance of reservations if you want to do Haleakalā sunrise. That opens 60 days in advance and sells out within minutes. So be on top of that. Waianapanapa State Park is famous for its black sand beach. That requires a time entry reservation. That's 30 days in advance. And popular luau's, snorkeling tours, those sell out. So you want to do that. And while I'm talking about stuff that sells out, I just saw a post that rental cars were sold out on the island of Hawaii, I believe. So always, book your rental car as soon as you can. That's super important, especially on the neighboring islands. If you're staying in Waikiki, you necessarily don't need a rental car. But if you are staying Kauai, Maui, Big Island, you definitely do need a rental car on those neighboring islands. So that brings us to the end. Maui, it's about balance, balancing your budget and mixing in those high impact investment experiences with those free ones. But balance your itinerary. Don't try to do everything in like 1 day, 2 days. Pick maybe one big thing a day. That's usually what we try to do. And then we have a day or two downtime. But balance your itinerary. Plan ahead, book those reservations early, and you're going to have a great time on the island of Maui, and I can't wait to hear about it. All right, so you can grab that first link in the show notes below to get that free PDF guide on this episode, and everything else I mentioned will be in the show notes below. So until next time, my friend, as always, live with aloha. Mahalo for listening to Hawaii's Best. If you found today's episode helpful, make sure to hit follow on your podcast app so you don't miss future episodes. You can find all links and resources mentioned today in the show notes below. Hawaii's Best is produced by Shorebreak Media Group, edited by Easy Podcast Solutions, and with music by our friends Stick Figure.